What is up, guys? Geargia-Won here. I'm going to be doing a deck profile and slight regional report. So I'll leave a link down below to the full report I did on Duelist Grounds, but this is going to be more of a deck profile. I'll talk briefly about the deck. So when I got to the regional, I was planning to run my own build, but my friend Nick and his friend Anna, Secret Agent Anna on YouTube, link to her channel will be below, convinced me to run their build. I ended up running their build card for card, almost card for card. I think I ran one card difference, which was I ran a Spear Reaper over the third Thunder King. Aside from that, though, I was very happy with how the deck was running in practice. I'll admit, though, I kind of do wish I played the Tour Guides instead, because even though the deck was playing very consistently, I think Tour Guide is just, well, I think Tour Guide's better in many respects, and there were many situations where I wish I had it, or at least had Sengen. Jupiter didn't really do it for me, but I'll kind of get more into a talk about it as I go through. I ended up when I got to the regional and I started playing, I got off to a very bad start. Round one, I had to play Evan Petra, who has topped multiple regionals, and I played him last year at Stratford, so at the gaming ETC. So I knew wasn't going to be good, but it was a mirror match. My first two losses came from mirror matches in round 1 and 3, and then I got my third loss round 8 against Hans Salguero, who was playing Machina gadgets. But he was a nice guy, and we talked, and I was all right with the fact that I got my third loss in spite of getting really close to finishing off X2. Aside from that, I think, and then I won round 9, so then I ended up going 6-3, but I only came in 42nd place because my tiebreakers were pretty bad. Regardless, I had fun, but I was surprised at how many X3s actually got their invites, so that was rather surprising and enjoyable. It was only top 32. It was top 32 because of the amount of people there. I think it was like 260 something. And overall, I guess I kind of wish I had played the Tour Guides instead of some of the cards in here. It would have been a 41 card deck, but whatever. I think it would have worked out fine. And I honestly just, going back, I just like, now that I'm testing this on Dueling Hour again, I'm kind of just tempted to put Tour Guide back in just because of how much I really like its synergy with the deck. Oh well, without further ado, I'm going to get to the deck so I don't waste too much of your time. So 2 Earth, 3 Venus, 3 Shine Ball, 3 Herald, 3 Hyperion, 2 Christia, 2 Thunder King, 2 Card Trooper, 1 Jupiter, 1 Spear Reaper, and 1 Honest. Monster lineup is pretty self-explanatory. Reaper was a suggestion by my friend because he thought it was probably the most versatile card I can main deck, aside from, like, you know, that I could really main, not like, because Snow Maneater didn't hit enough things, and I think that was, and I didn't want to play Max C, so I just settled on Reaper. Reaper did put in a lot of work. I just don't think it's like a necessary card within the deck, though. But there were matchups where he did a lot of work and that you just really wanted him in there, like Heroes, for example, so I thought that was pretty cool. Spells, we have only 7. 2 MST, 2 Lance, Dark Hole, Heavy, and Reborn. I've mentioned this before, but I don't like Book of Moon. I think it's really subpar, this format. I think the problem is Book of Moon doesn't seem as necessary when the format's slowed down. It's slowed down the way it has, and I don't think it's like you really need it. I'd rather play more removal cards rather than something that can sort of stop my opponent, but it's a -1. Also, Book of Moon's isn't as good now that back row is more popular, so that's a big factor. And finally, traps. Triple Call the Haunted, double D Prison, double Torrential, double Warning, and Judgment. The trap lineup standard, I think with Torrential, I really like it, even though Torrential, in many ways, is very bad in Agents. I mean, there are times where you almost want to, where I find myself siding one out because it doesn't really help, because my opponent either doesn't explode or doesn't really do much. One example is Dark World. I sometimes, if I really feel the need to side something out, I'll side it at one out because they just end up, their monsters are almost floaters, or their Grapha is a floater, so it's like you can't really deal with it that way. And if you usually have a field presence up, it's like, well, yeah, I'm in trouble. Triple Calls was amazing. You need to play 3 Call in this deck because of all the different plays you can make. You do want to side one. I tend to side one out, though, if I'm worried about my opponent siding in like Deep Vision or something. So that's it. Oh, and just with spells, I forgot to talk about that. And 2 MST was fine. I think Lance in many ways is just as good, if not better, than MST. It's just you will kind of find yourself siding the third MST quite a bit, but I didn't really side it in much all weekend, just because all day, because I didn't really face any decks that were siding in cards I was worried about, so I never really felt the need to put in. Moving on, extra deck. One Gachi, one Daigusto Phoenix, one Dark Mist, one Tempo, one Leviathan, one Zen Mines, one Armory Arm, one Catastor, Gaia Knight Force of Earth, Black Rose, Ancient Sacred Wyvern, Stardust, Scrap, and Mistworm, and Maestroke. Anything I'd change from the extra deck, I would take out Maestroke for a Levier, probably. I mean, just because I think I'm going to put in Torguide, and I would take out probably Gaia Knight. I'm not sure. I probably want to make room for Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon in the main, just because I was annoyed that I kept having to side, and I would probably rather side something else. So yeah, it worked. The extra deck, pretty standard. I honestly thought about siding, extra decking Magical Android and Catastor, but never found myself making 5s that often, so Catastor sufficed, needless to say. Wyvern is ridiculous. It's just so broken, it's not even funny. There are combos where you just win if you're able to make Wyvern. You have to play him. Stardust and Scrap didn't really get out there. Mistworm's a good. There was one game I OTK'd because of it. It was pretty hilarious. It's also, you really want to be able to make it, because there are times where you can go into Mistworm and then you set up your grave for Christia, so that's very critical. Yeah, and then for the, I'm just gonna get to the side deck. Chimera Tech, double Gemini Imps for Dark World. My side deck I actually thought was really well constructed. There was only one change I would have made, because everything else really served their purpose. But yeah, Imps for Dark World, and that random empty jar deck you might face, you never know. Double Sidra. I like this way more than System Down, because it's actually decent in the mirror match. It's great against decks like Heroes and just decks where you really decks like this and Heroes and Geargia, just to be able to get that big monster on the board is pretty awesome. My not secret side card, but a card that no one really expected me to side was Raikou. The milling theme is good, while not necessarily good, but while also not being excessive. So Raikou works. It also makes cards like Pulsar and Shining Mist Timing, which is very critical. Yeah, I sided it in against the necessary matchup, so I was happy about that, because I think I ended up playing 2 heroes and 1 Chaos Dragon player, and I won all 3 matches. So yeah, Raikou put in work. The third MST, pretty straightforward. 1 Nobleman, because I like this against Geargia, but also against decks like Chaos Dragons, I like to side it in because they tend to play defensively against you in many cases. Double Shadow Mirror. This was mainly, I put this in because I was worried about Inzectors. I didn't end up facing any, but I'd rather now have this in my side deck for both Dark World and Inzectors, just in case. Also Gravekeepers. It's like you never know when you're going to face that deck. Double Gozen match. I only side 2 because aside from Rabbit and Windups, I can't really think of any other matchups I would side this in for. That's the thing. Otherwise, though, regardless, I didn't side it, but it's really good when you can side it. And then the only card I would change is Double Max C. I ended up borrowing these last minute. My friend convinced me to play these, but you know what? I only sided in against the mirror matches, and even then I never found them that useful. Not simply because I didn't always draw them, but because I never really felt like I gained much out of them. To me, I just would have probably would have rather played Smashing Grounds or Soul Takers over these. I think those would have been a lot more handy. Alright, so yeah, that's the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed. In terms of YCS Providence, I am going to have a discussion on that. I've officially finished up my travel plans. I will be traveling with one of my friends who's a member of Team Godlike. If you guys have heard of them, then you might have seen their channel. I'm basically traveling with him, Michael Smith Grant, Ron Miyako, I forget how to say his name, Juten, and another teammate of theirs. So it's going to be a very exciting weekend. So I'll catch you guys next time, and I'll try to get up some more videos soon. I'm actually done with the LSAT now, so I do have a bit more time for videos. So yeah, see you then.